Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. It's time for week 9 of college football, and it's sure going to be a big one as some of the top teams in the country are trying to get that signature win before the first college football playoff rankings are released on Halloween night. Now, the top 4 right now stands as number 1 Alabama, number 2 Penn State, number 3 Georgia, and number 4 TCU. But that could all change after this Saturday as we have 3 huge ranked versus ranked matchups and a couple other potential upsets. These are my top 5 games for this Saturday. We're going to go ahead and start with the early game, the 11 o'clock game between number 11 Oklahoma State at number 22 West Virginia. This will be a really fun Big 12 shootout. I think it's going to be a shootout. 2 great quarterbacks, Mason Rudolph of Oklahoma State and Will Grier of West Virginia. I think Oklahoma State has a lot more riding on this game than West Virginia does. The Cowboys are obviously still in the running for the college football playoff with that one loss to TCU. Yeah, they still have not faced Oklahoma, so keep in mind that one's still coming up down the road. West Virginia, though, they're kind of here to play spoiler. Both teams are still in the running for the Big 12 championship. Obviously, neither will make the college football playoff unless they win that. I don't think West Virginia will be able to win out this season. So I think Oklahoma State has a lot more riding in this game. They need a desperate road win over a good West Virginia team. That would definitely look good in the committee's eyes if they can go there and take care of business. But I expect this one to be a shootout, so keep an eye on that. That one starts at 11 o'clock. And it's going to be a really fun Big 12 game. And we'll talk a little bit more about the Big 12 here in a second. But first, I want to touch on Georgia and Florida. Game is being played in Jacksonville and has huge SEC East Division title implications. Now, Georgia is undefeated. They are the number 3 team in the country. And if you just look at this game on paper, you would automatically give Georgia the win. I'm not saying I'm picking Florida for the upset. I did predict that earlier in the summer. And like I said, I'm not changing any predictions like I have all season. But I expect this game to be a lot closer than people expect. Right now, I believe Georgia's a 14-point favorite in this game, but I expect Florida to really give the Bulldogs a fight. Keep in mind, they're still in the running. If Florida pulls off the upset, Georgia will have 1 conference loss. Florida would have 2. Georgia still has to face Auburn. If they were to lose that and Florida were to win out, they would own the tiebreaker. They would win the SEC East and not Georgia. So this game has major implications. I don't expect that to happen even if Florida were to beat Georgia. But you never know. Anything can happen in the crazy world we live in of college football. So keep an eye on this one. This one starts at 2:30 on CBS. This one has major SEC implications for sure. I don't expect anything crazy to happen as the season goes on, but I think this game will be close than most people expect. Now, another huge Big 12 game we've got here is number 4 TCU and number 25 Iowa State. Another fun quarterback matchup between Kenny Hill of TCU and Jacob Park of Iowa State. And this one will really come down to, can TCU's defense stop Iowa State's all of a sudden explosive offense? The last loss Iowa State had was to Texas when they lost 17-7. Since then, they have scored 31 or more points in their last 3 Big 12 wins. Iowa State finds themselves in the rankings at 5-2 for the first time since 2005. It's going to be an electric atmosphere there as they're looking to pull off the major upset and really shake up the college football playoff rankings. And one more thing I do want to add is these next 4 games all start at 2:30. So make sure you've either got like 4 TVs or you're watching at a Buffalo Wild Wings or something, because you're not going to want to miss any of these games since they're all on at the exact same time. So make sure you're keeping your eye on that. Our next game is number 14 North Carolina State and number 9 Notre Dame. Notre Dame's coming off the huge win over USC last week, blew them out in South Bend. They get another home game against another high-quality opponent in the Wolfpack. Now, this is not a conference game for North Carolina State, so if they were to lose this, they could still win the ACC, but I think their playoff chances would be out. Notre Dame, though, has slowly snuck up into the rankings of the top 10 right now. Another huge win, like I said, over a good team would probably propel them into maybe the top 5, maybe the top 7 of the college football playoff rankings, depending on how bad they beat the Wolfpack, or if they beat the Wolfpack at all. I do think they will, with it being at home, with them having that much momentum. They're looking like a really solid team right now. They're a very dangerous team. They still have a key game against Miami down the road that would also boost their resume. So I think they're going to be able to get this huge win over North Carolina State. So keep your eye on that, though, in case the Wolfpack comes in and pulls off a shocker. And if they do, watch out, because if they pull off this upset and win their division in the ACC, win the ACC championship, you're looking at North Carolina State probably being in the college football playoffs. So make sure you keep your eye on that. And next we have the biggest game of the day, if not the biggest game of the year, a huge Big 10 matchup between number 2 Penn State and number 6 Ohio State. This game has every implication in the world. You got playoff implications, Big 10 title implications, and Heisman implications. You've got great quarterbacks playing between Trace McSorley and J.T. Barrett, and you've got the Heisman frontrunner and Saquon Barkley. going up against this tough Ohio State team, especially on the road. If he has a huge day against Ohio State on the road, you can go ahead and mark him down as the Heisman winner. But right now, we're looking at this. Penn State has a very stingy defense, as we've seen. They've been able to shut down some really good teams. They're coming off that huge win over Michigan, blew them out. But Ohio State's got a very explosive offense. Ever since that loss to Oklahoma, they've been blowing teams out of the water left and right. Yet they haven't played anybody as tough or as good as Penn State has. Keep in mind, Penn State has wins over Iowa on the road, which is a very tough place to play. And then obviously that huge win over Michigan. So this game has, this is, like I said, the biggest game of the year. You couldn't put anything else on this game right now. I'm really excited to watch this one. Back in my preseason picks, I had Ohio State winning this game. I expect it to be very close. I think home field advantage will play a huge role in this. That crowd, like Iowa State's game, is going to be very, very electric. It's going to be a super fun atmosphere. I think Ohio State might be able to pull off the upset over Penn State. But like I said, I think this game is going to come down to Penn State's defense. Can they stop that explosive Ohio State offense? If they do, Penn State will get the win. If they struggle a little bit, Ohio State will get the win. If you're not going to watch any of these other games, make sure you watch this Penn State game, because this is going to shape up how the rankings come out on Halloween night. It could potentially end up who's playing for the Big Ten Championship and who makes the college football playoff as a representative from the Big Ten. So make sure you watch this game. This is going to be the best game of the day between number 2 Penn State and number 6 Ohio State. I'm very excited to watch that. So make sure you keep an eye on all these 5 games. It's going to be a heck of a day of college football. There are going to be plenty of other upsets besides these 5 games. These are the ones that, in my opinion, just have the biggest implications, not only for these teams' conferences, but also the college football playoff. And like I said, as the rankings come out on Halloween night, we will have a video about the rankings the next day, November 1st. Make sure to watch our Week 9 recap that will come out on Sunday or Monday. And enjoy your Week 9 of college football. It's going to be the best week we've had so far. Thank you for watching. Please continue to like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you next time on The Gridiron Expert.